From the schoolhouse to the White House, there is a lot of discussion these days about teachers. But what makes an effective teacher? Who decides and how? To create an evaluation approach that really works, teachers like you need to have a seat at the table.
I think that the teacher evaluation is a dog and pony show. When they come in, the principals or the evaluators, they're checking off, they have a checklist, and when they're gone on a daily basis, I'm doing my own thing.
The evaluation process of just the principal observation is not enough. A checklist is not enough. I need written feedback. I need verbal feedback. That's what would be beneficial to me as a teacher.
Using test scores can be valuable in doing teacher evaluations. But again, it's just one slice of the pie.
The evaluation shouldn't be feedback. It should improve your teaching and the learning in the classroom. And if it's not doing that, then the evaluation itself is not worthwhile.
It's very important for teachers to talk about how they're being evaluated because a lot of their jobs are on the line. A lot of materials or things that they could gain from this is on the line.
I believe there has to be a way of measuring whether teachers are effective in their classrooms.
We're asking teachers nationwide to have a dialogue about evaluation. Like the teachers in this video, you'll be presented with 3 imaginary schools, each with a different approach to evaluation. Your assignment is to discuss the pros and cons of each one and create your ideal evaluation plan. School 1. What if the school has an evaluation plan based on principal observations? The observations take place at least once per year and 4 times a year for new teachers. Teacher submitted portfolios. These are designed to detail your professional development. Student surveys. The students fill out a survey about you at the end of the year. Praise and feedback. If you get a good evaluation, you get praised. If you get a poor evaluation, you get honest feedback. New teachers who rate less highly may not get tenure.
And one of the key words that kind of made me nervous as a new teacher was this sole evaluator.
Whether you like your principal or you don't like your principal, at least you're familiar with them. They're familiar with your kids, familiar with your school, and that's important.
I mean, this is unrealistic at the high school level for one person to be the sole evaluator because, like Scott said, there's 125 teachers at East. There's more than that at where I teach at West. He would never be able to do anything else.
If you've identified an area of weakness, I think you should also identify an area of strength. Mm-hmm. The portfolio gives you a look into that. 1 minute or 10-minute walk through the 1 or 2 formal observations. Sometimes a teacher is a really good teacher, but when you're in the room, they just can't get it together.
Mm-hmm. I think teacher submitted portfolios sounds like a good idea, but I also think you would have to factor in release time or planning time for teachers, which is already in very short supply.
It's hard for me to accept that a high school student, or that most high school students have the maturity to fill out these evaluations.
But in the long run, the kids can tell that you care about them. The kids can see that you're a good teacher, So overall, your evaluation should reflect the type of teacher you are.
My concern is what is the weight that would be given towards someone's final evaluation. That was my concern. Not that student evaluation or survey is bad. I think it's fine, but how much weight does it hold?
School 2. What if the school has an evaluation plan based on principal and peer observations? These are done once a year by the principal and twice a year by fellow teachers. A professional growth plan. These are submitted by you and get revised every 9 weeks. Parental feedback. This counts toward your evaluation. Promotion and dismissal. Teachers with good evaluations can become peer evaluators. Teachers with poor evaluations over time are counseled out of the profession.
People see people differently. Supervisors, yeah, versus their peers. Right. And I see more hands-on and more growth being able to come from this kind of a model.
My concern is that when it becomes punitive, then the dynamic changes. Absolutely. And that relationship changes. And I don't think for the better.
Who are these master teachers that are going to be peer evaluators? And that was like a bing, bing, bing.
And I think cliques are a huge part of faculties as much as they are among students. And I don't know how you control for that.
I feel a lot more positively toward this, and I recognize the danger you're talking about there being, instead of one dictator, a clique. Mm-hmm. And I think one way you could prevent that is to have a long-term schedule of rotating evaluators.
I think all teachers internally set a professional growth plan. I don't think anybody comes into this profession thinking that we are where we need to be to meet our students every year. So we always look at ways to grow.
So this is not only impacting on your everyday evaluations and how you're getting feedback in your classroom, but it's going to impact on whether you have a job, because if you don't get a good evaluation for 2 years, you lose the opportunity to get a certification. You're out of the field. So this is really high stakes for us, so we better have a voice in it.
School 3. What if the school has an evaluation plan based on observation by experts? They're specially trained former teachers who observe you 4 times a year. Video review. Some of the observations are recorded on video that you get to review as well. Students' gains and test scores. This looks at the students' measured growth from the beginning to the end of the year. Performance pay. If you have good evaluations and test scores, you receive additional money.
I like the external evaluators coming in because I think it brings in a more objective view.
And their main purpose is to make sure that I'm doing a better job. There, it seems like the focus is more on making sure that the students are getting what they're supposed to get.
If that's the test that they're going to use to evaluate me and attach that to me, it has to have high stakes for the students as well. And right now our tests don't have high stakes for the students.
So the only fair way, to me, is that you have to track the student. And is the student progressing?
I would love to get a bonus. My test scores, I don't want to sound like that, but my test scores are good.
Supposedly they have done studies where they have given teacher bonuses, and it really hasn't improved test scores. In fact, it has made the climate negative.
Of course, everybody wants the bonus of the money, but my focus for me, just based on what I've had to go through the last few years being at my school, I need valuable feedback.
Believed in shared leadership. So this type of conversation needs to be had with the teachers, because at the end of the day, it is their lives that's being affected.
I think it is extremely important that principals listen to teachers about issues like this, because they might not remember back, in the day when they were teachers. They might not have been teaching in a similar situation than we are now.
I think all of the big issues in education kind of came out, and what we're thinking about, and we're all concerned about using test scores. We're all concerned about that ineffective teacher that could be next door.
I think we all need to remember that it is our students who we serve. We're not serving the State Board of Education. We're not serving the city. We're serving our students. We're there to make them better learners. We're there to teach them.
If teacher had more input, I think everything would be a little bit better.